Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Monday. So up and at 'em, June 24th. So this brings us to a new week, right? So today is Monday. So I thought today's topic would be, or is going to be, and this pertains probably more to you guys that are one man bands, working by yourself. But still, I think it's going to be a little bit for everybody. So stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back. My name is Eric, if you didn't already know it, and this is the weekday, Monday through Friday. Available on podcast as well. So, I ended out the week yesterday with a Sunday sermon of trying to get across the point that you don't have to be right all the time. You don't have to be right most of the time. It's what you do when you're not right, because it opens you up to learning. If you got it in your head you're right, why would you learn any other way, right? Good question. So one of the things, and this is more pushing towards you, Peter, because I hear the struggles in the text basically, and I know the hardship that is involved when you are a one-man band. Because there's so many projects, just that extra set of hands, if they helped you, would make that job so much easier. Whether it's doing dropping a transmission, if you're automotive, taking an engine out, putting an engine back in, that second set of hands, that second set of eyes, and that second set of thought of been there, done that, this works, that doesn't work, can make things that are really hard really easy. And, when you're running your own shop, okay, and you're the mechanic, you're the customer service, you're the billing, you tend to chase your tail. You do. Because you have to set up a routine. And the routine is when a unit comes in, you tag it with the customer's information, or at least their name, and you give them the other card on the bottom that usually detaches. That's what we have. We can hook it right to the unit so we know whose it is. Because you may get two or three that look identical twin. And you don't want the customer to get the wrong one back, right? Because usually they know which one is theirs, and if you're offering them a better one, yeah. So when it comes into the shop, comes onto the shop's property, you have to tag it. Okay, that's the very first start, right? No. Normally the first start is talking to the customer on the phone, and they're going to bring it around and drop it off. So you have to spend so much time on the phone, right? And once that unit is tagged, the next thing is to start a work order on it. And you can either print out, I make an Excel sheet that lists, what the part description is, the price, and how many. And then when I go to do billing, I just input that information into a separate Excel sheet that I got set up that automatically does the adding, subtracting, sales tax, everything. So all I got to do is just put in the what's listed on that sheet, right? And a lot of times, if you're a one-man band, you forget things. And just a simple example, I did an oil change. A machine come in because there was an issue with the engine not sounding right. And what had happened was the gal had hit a stick or something solid enough so it damaged the oil filter. And it sprung the seal and it loosened it up. And thank goodness she didn't burn that engine up, right? But it was here that she said, could you please check the blades on it? And we had already checked that unit out this spring and did a complete service on it, everything. Because she said she may have hit a little bit of a concrete thing. So I said, yeah. So I'm writing down notes as she's telling me what she wants. But we're going to look at it anyways, right? If it come in for something serious, which could have been a blown engine, but she lucked out because we were able to put new engine oil in it and fire it up, and we got it to fire up. So we shut her off. We drained the engine oil. We took the destroyed oil filter right off. Put a new oil filter on it, new oil, and then put the blades on. But when I went up to write up the billing, I only put down one change of oil, a quart and a half or whatever it is. When in fact, we put in the thing wasn't even touching on the stick. So we added oil to make sure it was going to run. Now, it doesn't sound like much, but when you start losing a quart to 2 quarts a day, it adds up. So you have to be meticulous on what you're doing to every unit and every part you put on it. And there's times that I have to chase Claude around because he'll just go ahead and put on different parts and he won't write them down on the work order sheet. And you have to. I need to know what we have used on that unit to charge the customer the correct price. So that's 3. So you got talking to the customer usually that's going to come. 2, tagging it so you know whose is whose. 3, work orders and making sure that you are anal about any new part you put on that unit. Write it down. Any used part that you put on that unit, write it down and put used. So that when you get done with that unit and you kick it outside, what should you do? At that point, to be honest with you, you need to wash your hands, go out front, and figure out what the bill is, call the customer, tell them what the end bill is ready for pickup, and then go to your next one, and then go to your next one. But what the tendency is, when I say chasing your tail, is you start working on 2 or 3 of them because you might be waiting for parts, right? And that tendency to overlook what parts you put on it gets greater unless you're keeping meticulous notes on what you're doing to it and how much time are you spending on it. If you're spending time like we talked about yesterday with Claude, where he couldn't get that lawnmower to run, and in the end he hadn't done a compression check, that shouldn't be billed to the customer. So now you've lost 3 hours of billable. You could probably charge a diagnostic on it, but that's not going to come close to 3 billable mechanic hours at $55 an hour, right? So you should have had almost $150, above $150 on those 3 hours. But the most you're going to recoup is $45. You have wasted that time. And we have what we call the learning stage. And that is, you learn lessons learned that don't do it again. It costs you $115 or whatever of non-billable hours that you can't never get back. And you move on. All right? That's all you can do. But that's what I mean by when you're a one-man band, you have to be on top of your game on everything. And you're trying to provide excellent customer service, that one-on-one. And it's hard because the longer you're talking to a customer, the less work you're getting done in the shop. So you can spend all week long just talking to customers to get their stuff coming in and not get diddly squat done and not have any billables for that week. You see what I mean? So what is the answer? Well, the answer is being meticulous and letting the answer machine answer some calls if you're on a project that you're making money at. If you're a one-man band, use the answer machine. Will you get better responses if you can answer it yourself? Yeah. But there's days that the phone doesn't stop ringing. And a lot of times it's stupid questions. You're like, do you have this part in stock? No, but we can order it. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Or worse yet, these robocalls from these companies trying to get you to buy their crap. So you can screen your calls. So what works best for you? If you're a one-man band or a one-woman band, what works best for you? So at the end of the week, you're making some money. Because that's the idea, right? You're not doing it for free. I hope not. I've got a video coming out later today on just this, on how to make sure that productivity is going on and that your cash flow is positive in the end. Because ultimately, whether you're a one-man band or you're 5, 6, 7, 8 employees deep, at the end of the day, there has to be a profit. And if there's not profit at the end of the day, then the other 4 days of the week that you're working better be really good to cover the day that there's no profit. Now, it depends upon a lot. It depends upon how much you need to live on, I guess. And you can spend too much time on customer service and not enough time fixing things. The other way you could do is set aside an hour in the afternoon that all you're going to do is billables. If you have more than an hour's worth of billables, then set an hour and a half at the end of the day of where you're doing billables to make sure that you're getting these jobs paid for. Because the quicker you do the invoice, the quicker you call that customer, the quicker you get paid, right? And I know guys that are running a one-man band shop that hate doing billables, so they'll put it off. And the customer is like a week and a half out, and they still haven't heard from you, even though their unit was fixed the following day. And they're wondering, my lawn is getting taller. So by doing billables at the end of the day on the stuff that's ready, we'll get you paid, and we'll get your customer to be even happier because you got the unit in and out. Now, if you're like me, you multitask. On my work computer at the shop, I may have 7 invoices running at the same time. I just bring them up. They're all laying in behind each other in layers, But I can just touch it and bring it back up and then add whatever I want. And I don't close out that invoicing until it's done. And then I close it out. Print 2 copies, one that stays with the work order and one that I send with the customer or I give to the customer to make payment. You always want to make sure that you have, what's the right word? Some of you guys like to do it electronically, where you have it on the system and that's good enough for you. But I've had hard drives crash before. And when it comes to if you're going to get audited, which is not if, it's when, that you have printed copies of everything that you've done. And I do it by the month. All repair orders are together. And then all the parts that were ordered are together. So it's you're doing it in not triplicate, but you're doing it so that the customer's got a copy, you've got a copy in a file folder, and then you also have a copy on the computer, if need be, that you can pull back up and print out a second copy for the customer if they lost their first copy. Now, the other school of thought is, instead of being a one-man band, is it feasible to hire someone to do your customer service, your billing, invoicing, and calling the customer, so that you can spend more time doing mechanical skills? Because that's where the money is, right? If you can put in a full 8 hours and have 8 billable hours for the day, it starts to add up. And I know you're looking at hiring somebody, let's say part-time for 4 hours a day. You're still looking at, 15 something minimum wage? And so that means you have to do more to get more. But in reality, do you? Because if you had that person 4 hours a day answering the phone and doing billing and all that, and talking to customers, that frees you up 4 hours to do just straight on mechanical, billable hours. So in the end, if you follow the thought process, you're actually getting more billable hours. It depends on what your comfort level is. Whether to have somebody part-time that all they do is just out front. Have somebody full-time, that's all they do is something out front. Or hiring somebody to come in and also be able to give you a second set of hands when you need it, which makes jobs go faster. And also spend most of the time answering the phone and contacting customers for you. But just give that some thought, because I know that at the end of the day, it's all about making a profit. And one other option that you can look at is, are you willing to take on a partner? Let's say somebody else that has mechanical skills, but you're not that strong when it comes to invoicing, billing, or customer service, but that person is. What can you put out in a week that way? Now you've got 2 mechanics that can knock things out in a hurry. And then you have the one mechanic that enjoys and does well talking to customers, invoicing, billing, all those things. And I would set it up. Because if you aren't doing this right now, you probably should be, if you're a one-man band, you need to have payroll, even on yourself, so that you're paying in the taxes and everything else for your retirement in the end. And if you're a partnership, it's even better to have both of you on payroll. Now, I'm not an attorney, corporate attorney, or LLC attorney. I'm not anything of the above. But I do know, with ours being incorporated, that I'm on payroll. But you run the risk. You don't run the risk. You do have double jeopardy, is what I call it. And that is, if you have yourself on payroll, you get taxed on that, right? At the end of the year, income tax. And then you also have corporate income tax that you do at the end of the year, and you get taxed on that same money all over again. So you're getting double taxed. But in the end, it's better to have you on payroll. So I'm going to start wrapping this up. I want to know, what are you guys' thoughts on this? If you're a one-man band, would you consider doing any of the above? Do you think it'd be feasible? Is there enough work coming in to have somebody else come in part-time or to take on a partner? Because at the end of the day, you're looking to get things in and out and get paid. And you need to make a profit. You don't need to make a profit on every thing you work on. But it helps. It really does. And as today's video I'm putting out later today, is most shops that I know of are underselling themselves. And they're not paying themselves enough. And they're giving customers breaks right and left in thought of customer service. But in the end, they're putting the screws to themselves. And you're screwing your customer as well if you can't afford to stay in business and you close your doors because you're not charging enough or you're not making enough. So on that note, you guys have a great Monday, and we'll catch you here bright and early tomorrow morning.